Hey guys, Sheri and Richerson from Experimental Homesteader, Exotic Gardening, SheriAnnRicherson.com and biannualblogethonbash.com, and welcome to our daily vlog. Some of you have asked what daily life is like here on our homestead, and I don't know that this is going to be a really good indication today. But I thought I would do a walkthrough of some of the items I'm doing today. I have already woke up, cleaned out the chicken guinea cage, fed and watered them, and now I'm in the kitchen. I have some sausage biscuits in the oven. I have poured myself a glass of blueberry pomegranate water. And I have my little sourdough container here that I bought off of Amazon. It has a thermometer on it, plus it has this little band so that I can measure how my sourdough is growing. I've already measured out a 1/4 cup of flour. It's a little bit heaping, but I think that's going to be okay. I'm going to put that in there. And then I want to move this paper towel over here because I am trying to keep this copper sink as dry as possible so it doesn't end up spotting and looking horrible. I'm going to get myself a 1/4 cup of water. Oops, I have that on the wrong thing. Okay. And I'm going to add that in. And since this was a little bit heaping, I'm going to add just a tad more water to that because I want this to be sort of like a thick pancake batter. And then I'm just going to use this spoon and I'm going to stir it up. Hopefully I didn't add too much water. I think it'll be okay. It seems to be pretty thick down inside of there. But I'm just going to stir this up until everything is well mixed. All the flour is damp. I'm going to kind of scrape it because the flour on the bottom, I don't know if you can see that, but some of the flour on the bottom did not get wet. So I want to scrape it and make sure that it all has plenty of dampness, moisture, and that everything did get wet. Okay, now I'm just going to scrape the sides of the jar, and I'm just going to kind of spin the jar to do that because I obviously want all the batter down. As you can see, that is kind of thick, and that's exactly what I want. I'm going to just kind of scrape this using the measuring cup. Okay, and then I'm going to take this out, just kind of tap that off. Like I said, I really try to keep this copper sink as dry as possible so there's no spots. And then I'm going to scoot this down. This is really tight, so scooting it down is easier said than done. But I'm just pushing it to where the top of the sourdough is today. And that way I have a marker. Now I do have a lid and I'm going to set it on, but I'm not setting it on tight. I'm just kind of setting it there. I'm just going to set this over on my cabinet by my stove, and I am going to peel off this piece of plastic. It seems to want to come off anyway, so get rid of that. But I'm just going to set it over by my stove where hopefully it stays a little bit warm. And if you're wondering, if you can see inside this jar, and you're wondering, I use the bottom of the band to mark where the sourdough is, not the top. Just the bottom. But I'm just going to set this over by the stove, and I'm going to let it ferment. I will check on it tomorrow and figure out how it's doing, if I'm starting to get fermentation, and then I will go on to day 2 of making the sourdough, which is basically feeding it. I can't remember if it's day 2 or day 3 when you start discarding some of the starter. I don't remember that right off the top of my head because I don't make a lot of sourdough. But I had thought with spring coming that I would go ahead and get a sourdough starter going. I found some recipes for using some of the discarded sourdough for pancakes and brownies and various things. And I thought that I would do that. It kind of bothers me to discard the sourdough because it kind of feels like it's wasteful. But since I found these other ways to use it, I definitely want to give it a try and see how well our family likes those different items. Like I said, I do have a sausage biscuit in the oven that should be done pretty soon. So this is my morning so far. It's 8 minutes after 10 here, and I haven't got done as much as I should. I haven't made it out to the barn yet to check on the goats and chickens, and I don't have my computer turned on yet. But it's been a very stressful weekend with the cleaning out of the basement. Finding out that some of the things that were stored down there were completely ruined, and finding other things that I had wondered where they had gone. Someone had taken them down to the basement, and thankfully there were items that were able to be salvaged. In another couple weeks, the foundation crew is going to be here, and I'm really looking forward to having the basement dry and having it have less humidity than what it does right now so that I can actually use it. That's where I want to move my food storage pantry, and also where I want to store my extra kitchen appliances that I don't use on an everyday basis. Okay, so I got the sourdough moved over to its warm spot by the stove. I got my sausage biscuits done, and I've eaten those. And I just finished reading through all of my email today. There was over 1,000 emails waiting on me when I logged in. It is now 11:57 a.m. Jeff had just called. It sounds like he's going to be working overtime tonight. He's back over in the department that he doesn't like. He got told he didn't have a choice. That's where he was going today, and he is not real happy, to say the least. I'm already running behind schedule today. I still have not left the house, and I haven't got supper started either, because I was going to put the leftover roasted chicken that we had this weekend into a pan and make some broth and let the chicken that was left on it kind of boil off so that I would have that. It hasn't happened. I still have to leave and go do some running and get some errands done. And this is kind of the way my day goes. There are so many time sucks and so many things that end up taking way longer than what I anticipate that they should. But with over 1,000 emails, I had to carefully read those. I had a couple reader questions that I needed to reply to. I'm not sure why, but it seems like people are asking questions on the blog without actually searching or going down to the bottom of the blog post and finding the related articles. So I'm not sure what that's all about and why. It's something that I definitely need to correct. And I love hearing from readers. I really do. But I also feel like things should be really simple for them, and they should be able to find the answers that they need easily. And clearly, for some reason, that doesn't seem to be happening. And I just, like I said, I love to hear from readers. I really do. I just feel like when you want an answer, you want it right then, and you don't want to have to wait for a reply from email from someone. So, that's definitely something I need to figure out and work on. And it'll make a better experience for everyone, I think. So anyway, guys, that's my update this morning. And now we are going to try to get some other things done. And I'm sorry that this video seems kind of pieced. I realized that I could have just put my GoPro on and, ran through 8 hours of video, but that seems kind of silly. So we will have another update next. Stay tuned. Okay, so the first stop was Dollar Tree. My little fire starting container from the 1800s that I got from my grandparents was actually out of kerosene. That's what we use in it. And Jeff said we didn't have any more kerosene in the garage right now. Prices are up, and even though we only need a little bit, it's almost spring and summer, and I don't need a container of kerosene sitting in my house for months on end in the heat. So I came out to the Dollar Tree. They had these little tiny fire starters for $1.25 a piece. I know that I could buy a big box, but again, it's almost summer. We really don't need that many. So I went ahead and I picked up a couple that will get us through. And I ran out of the house and I left my Planet Fitness bag sitting in the house. Forgot to grab it. So I don't know if I'm going to Planet Fitness or not. It looks like it's pretty crowded over there. I don't like to go over there when it's crowded. Oh yeah, now that this car in the parking lot has moved, they are packed right now. So I am going to skip Planet Fitness today. But I did decide that I was going to go out and get myself a tea. I know I could make one at home, but I'm just going to grab one. We have a new car wash in town at Meijer. It's called My Wash. And we got a free wash, and then it was $10 for 1 month, and we could get the biggest bundle they had for that price. I have a lot of tree sap on the Cobalt. So I thought you can only use it for one car, but you can buy as many as you want. So if we wanted to buy 4 and get all of our cars washed unlimited for the next month, it would be $40. We only bought for the Cobalt right now. But like I said, it was $10, and it allows you to go through twice a day, every day. So I'm only going to go through about once today because we did notice some of the paint on the cobalt is starting to come off anyway. So I guess we're thinking maybe the less that it's subjected to, the less likely that the paint will continue to come off. I don't know, that may not be the case. We did talk about if this continues that we're just going to get the car painted. I have had pink cars in my life, but I have never had a bright metallic pink car. And that's what I've always wanted. So if we would have to invest in getting this car painted, it is definitely going a metallic pink. When I had got the US cutter, I had already decided that I was going to cut out a unicorn and put on the hood. That's something else I've always wanted done, is to have a unicorn on the hood of my car. Haven't got there yet, but we will. For one thing, the weather has to be right, because in this frigid temperatures, I don't want to be trying to apply vinyl. I don't think it would stick good. We also have to get the car really clean and probably get the wax off, which I know the car wash is putting wax on. But anyway, I think now I'm going to head down to get my tea, and then I'm going to head down and go through the car wash before I head back home and try to get started on the rest of today's tasks. So hey guys, after I got the car washed, I decided to stop in at TJ Maxx. I have been on the hunt for Peter Rabbit dishes and other dining room items, and they are really hard to find this year. Some of what I have found at places like Pottery Barn I didn't like. Williams Sonoma was sold completely out. So I've been doing a lot of looking at TJ Maxx, and I found these cute little bowls. Look at that. I have the little plates, the little dessert plates at home already that match these. And to go with this, I obviously don't want to drop this bowl. I found matching cups that actually had this design on them, which is what my little dessert plates have on them. So I was absolutely over the moon that I could find this. I'm really hoping before Easter that they will get some more Peter Rabbit in, and especially dinner plates are what I'm looking for. I only have 2, and they're of a completely different design, which is okay. I will make it work. But I'm just surprised here in the States how hard this stuff is to get a hold of, and quite frankly, the price when you do find it is fairly expensive. I mean, I know it's licensed, and I guess I should expect that, but I would think as many years as Peter Rabbit has been around that the prices would be a little less. The set at Pottery Barn, I think, was like $260, and I think that was a 4-piece set. So I found that very pricey, and I know that their stuff is pricier. Williams Sonoma had a cookie jar and a spoon rest for the top of a stove, and I wanted those, but they were completely sold out. And the lady told me that as fast as it comes in, it sells right out this year. So Peter Rabbit is most definitely in demand this Easter, and I consider myself very, very lucky to have gotten the pieces that I've got. Okay, so now that I'm back home, one of the first things I need to do is to try to get this fire started. So I'm going to put that in there. It is trying, you can probably see the smoke coming out. It is trying to take off. I just think that it needs a little bit of help. And that's, I'm going to close this up. That's what I'm hoping the fire starter will do. Let me close that up. We have been having a lot of issue. Okay, there we go. Now we've got flames in here, and I can try to poke around and rearrange this wood so that it catches. I suspect that's the issue in a nutshell, is that the wood that was put inside of here just wasn't catching. Let me see if I can add a couple more bulbs in here. Okay, that is the smoke alarm. Part of the problem is that it is super close to the wood burner. So it goes off quite a bit. Anyway, I've got a fire going. I've got the flames going. Hopefully this will get the wood that's inside of here hot enough that in a very, very short time, it will start throwing out some heat. The sound you hear, this actually has a fan on the back of it that helps the heat to get out into the room. And so when there's no heat and no fire inside of here, it basically is just pushing cold air out into the house is coming down from the chimney. Okay, so next on my list of what I want to do is to make some broth with the roasted chicken that I made. So I had put the bones and everything in a Ziploc bag, and that's what I'm going to put the meat in. This is my Visionware. This is one of the items that we found down in the basement. Over the weekend, I had not seen this item for a number of years. This was one of the first sets of pans that I got when I was in my early 20s, maybe 19, 20 years old. So it has been around for a long, long time. I do put lemons. I usually cut up a lemon and also some fresh herbs inside of my chicken when I make it. I want to be sure, and I'll put the whole carcass in, but I'm just kind of showing you because I want to be sure that all of that gets into the pan where the bones are going to go. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull off some of the chicken from the bones that I can get to easily. And I'm going to set that aside and save it. And what I'm going to do with that is use it to make chicken and noodles or chicken pot pie, those kind of things, because there's no point of letting it go to waste. And that's one reason why I make bone broth. Now, sometimes I just throw the whole darn thing in, and I don't worry about doing this, and I just let the water come off. But today, I thought that I would debone it because it's actually probably better to pull the chicken off before you just throw the whole thing in the water. And I'm thinking nutritional-wise. So I'm not positive that it matters. Like I said, normally I wouldn't do this. I would just go ahead and throw the whole thing in and debone it after, when everything is falling apart. But today I'm going to do it a little bit different. I do have this pan on and the water's starting to heat up because, again, I don't think that's going to hurt anything to go ahead and get these lemons and these herbs cooking. As you can see, we only ate, I'm going to put the skin over here. We only ate one side of this chicken, so there was quite a bit left. And you can do this with turkey as well. I would think duck, or really any kind of bird that you might be eating. You can use bones from pork and chicken. I mean pork and beef to make bone broth, and I do that from time to time. I usually save those bones in a bag in the freezer And when I get a bag full, that's when I make my broth. Sometimes I will use a bigger pan, especially if I'm going to can this. And I will do multiple carcasses. I have roasted the bones in the carcass before, and then used the roasted bones. Chicken, I don't think it really makes a difference much with chicken as far as I can tell to roast it. But if you're doing beef, you definitely want to roast those bones first. I'm not going to worry about getting the meat off of the leg. I'm going to put that in just like it is. The meat will come off, and I will be able to pick out the meat. The same thing with the wings. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to put all of this in there. Now, you do want the water to cover this. So, oops, I didn't realize that was in the way. So, I will be adding a little bit more water to this pan. And then I will be putting a lid on this. And I will be cooking it down, probably for several hours. I want to get those herbs in there. So just kind of on a slow simmer, because what I'm doing is getting all of the good things out of the bones and getting the meat to come apart so that I can separate it out. I could use the bones twice if I wanted. I usually don't. I usually throw the bones outside to the stray cats that get dropped off here and let them get a little bit out of this. Like I said, I do pick out any meat that's left in the pan, and then I will strain it so that what I end up with is just plain broth. This is a really good meal. As you can see, this is the chicken that I've gotten off so far. And this will be a really good meal. So I don't know if we're going to eat this tonight or if I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. I usually like to put it in half-gallon canning jars with lids in the refrigerator and let it set overnight so that I can skim any of the fat that has risen to the top off, so we don't have that fat in our food. But then basically, if I wanted to have this tonight after I strain it, I could just put some of that chicken meat back in. I could put some noodles or dumplings in, and I could cook them. And basically, if I had homemade noodles or dumplings, which right now I don't, that's something that I need to get stocked back up on. But basically, this entire meal could be something that came from our own farm, with the exception of the lemons, of course, because I no longer have a lemon tree here. But the chicken, you know, it could be one of ours that we butchered. The herbs would be typical herbs that I would grow myself. And then the dumplings or noodles would come from eggs that come from our chickens. I can grow flour here, and I do have a mock mill grinder that I did receive for free in exchange for my honest review that I can grind the flour with. And so this is a meal that if you live on a small farm or a homestead and you're looking for something that is completely sustainable that you can provide and grow yourself, this would be it. I could throw in some carrots out of the garden if I wanted to add to this. And then, of course, for seasoning, salt, pepper, and garlic, I like lemon, a little bit of lemon juice, and a little bit of rosemary in my chicken noodle soup. Okay, guys, so I am back at my desk. I have the chicken bones simmering on the stove, and I have just gone through another 100 emails. So the rest of the day I'm going to be working on uploading some new items, some new printables in my Etsy shop. I'm going to be working on making pins for my blogs. And hopefully I get around to getting a few blog posts done. It is now 2:16 in the afternoon. And this is what typically happens on a normal day. It is 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon before I actually get to sit down at the computer and start writing. And then I only get to write until whatever time Jeff gets off. If he gets off at 3:30, it is a really short day for me. If he doesn't get off till 7:30, I have quite a few hours to get stuff done. And my productivity, quite frankly, depends on what his schedule is and what all I have to do in the mornings. There are days that the only thing I have to do is take care of the animals and I can get straight to work. But this was today. Like I said, I wanted to get that sourdough starter going. And because I had to run out to get starter for the wood burner, I decided to do a few other things when I was out. And then I did want to get that bone broth going. It probably is not going to be for supper. I'm seeing quite a bit of grease popping up on the top of the water already. So I'm pretty sure what I'll do when it's done is strain it off, put it in half-gallon canning jars, put that in my refrigerator, and tomorrow I will scrape off all of that grease, and then we will probably have chicken and noodles tomorrow night. So I may end up making a chicken pot pie tonight, and he may be in the mood for something completely different when he gets home. So I guess we're just going to see, but that's how I stretch one whole chicken into at least 3 meals. And had I made a bigger round of bone broth, which sometimes I do, I could have got 7 quarts of broth out of that one chicken. And then I could have stretched that into basically 7 meals of chicken and noodles, because we use about 1 quart of broth per round of chicken and noodles. So it does have to cook a little bit longer to really get everything out of the chicken bones if you're going to do that. But I just let it cook until I feel like the broth is the way I want it. So, and usually also I'll have some other odd and end pieces of chicken in there, like maybe another carcass or something I can throw in. Not always, but sometimes I do. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys and showed you one way that you can stretch your food budget. Because I know right now a whole chicken is running $15 to $20 a piece. And that's a lot of money for just one meal. So if you have a larger family, you may not have the meat left on the chicken, but you can still use those bones to make broth. And you can still stretch your food budget by making homemade noodles or homemade dumplings and making chicken and noodles. So anyway, guys, please subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments below. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful night.